The rain had just started when Ethan realized this night was supposed to mean something. He stood inside the small cafe on Maple Street, shaking water from his jacket, feeling that quiet pressure in his chest that came when the past showed up without warning. Outside, traffic lights blurred into red and gold streaks. Inside, the smell of coffee and baked bread filled the air. It felt warm, familiar, safe, like a place where old stories liked to return. Claire was already there. She sat near the window, her posture calm, her hands wrapped around a ceramic mug. When she looked up and saw him, she smiled. It was a gentle smile, careful, like she wasn't sure what it was allowed to mean anymore. That smile pulled him in, for a moment. Ethan forgot the rain, forgot the years, forgot the distance. He thought, maybe foolishly, that it was just the two of them again. Just us. Like before life got complicated, he walked over, sat down, and said her name, Claire. She answered with his. Hearing it from her voice still felt personal, like a secret only they shared. They talked right away, fast and light, about work deadlines, city traffic, how crowded downtown had become. Ethan joked about how he still couldn't find parking anywhere, and Claire laughed softly. It felt almost normal, almost under the table. Ethan's foot bounced. He didn't notice it, but Claire did. She noticed everything. She noticed how his eyes stayed on her face, how he leaned in slightly, how he kept searching her expression as if looking for permission to say something deeper. He didn't say it. Instead, stared out the window for a second. Watching the rain slide down the glass, "I'm really glad you came," he said. Finally, Claire nodded. "I wasn't sure I should." That answer hung between them. Ethan felt it, but he didn't push. He had learned the hard way that pushing sometimes broke things forever. Behind Ethan, near the bookshelf, Anna stepped inside the cafe. She paused just inside the door, letting her eyes adjust to the warm light. She hadn't planned to stay long. Just a quick coffee, maybe a chapter from a book, then home. It had been a long day, and she needed quiet. Then she saw him dot Ethan. Her breath caught, but she didn't move. She stayed where she was, half hidden by a tall shelf filled with paperbacks and journals. From where she stood, she could see his profile clearly, the same thoughtful expression, the same habit of running a hand through his hair when he was unsure. She saw Claire to dot Anna didn't feel angry. She felt something heavier, a slow ache, the kind that came from realizing a door you never closed had been quietly open the whole time. She told herself not to stare. She picked up a random book and pretended to read the back cover, even though the words blurred dot at the table. Claire's eyes drifted past Ethan without thinking. Just a glance. Just long enough to see Anna standing there. Claire's smile faded slightly. Ethan didn't notice. Not yet. He was too focused on the feeling that this meeting mattered more than he had expected. He leaned forward, lowering his voice. "Do you ever think about how fast things change?" he asked. "One day you think you understand your life, and the next, it's something else." Claire swallowed. "All the time." Her eyes flicked toward the bookshelf again. This time, Ethan followed her gaze. At first, he saw nothing unusual. Books, a coat rack, a woman holding a novel. Then his mind caught up. His chest tightened. He stared, trying to be sure. The woman didn't look back. She stood still, calm on the outside, her face unreadable. It was Anna. He hadn't expected to see her again, not like this, not without warning. His thoughts scrambled. 100 memories tried to speak at once, quiet conversations, shared dreams, the way she listened, like his words mattered. For a second, he thought maybe she hadn't seen him. Maybe he could turn back, pretend this moment wasn't happening. But Claire was watching him now. She saw the change in his face, the tension in his shoulders, the way his focus slipped away from her. "Ethan," she said softly. He blinked. "Sorry, he didn't finish." Anna's phone buzzed lightly in her hand. The sound was small, almost nothing, but it broke the fragile balance of the moment. She glanced down at the screen, then finally looked up. Their eyes met. There was no shock in her expression, just awareness. Ethan felt like the air had been pulled from the room. He realized all at once how wrong he had been. This evening hadn't belonged only to him and Claire. It never did. Life didn't work that way. Anna looked at him for a brief second longer, then turned and walked toward the counter. Ethan watched her go, unable to stop himself. His heart beat faster, not with excitement, but with the weight of unfinished things. Claire set her mug down. "So," she said quietly, "you didn't notice her at first." It wasn't a question. Ethan looked back at Claire, guilt and confusion mixing inside him. "I wasn't expecting." "I know," Claire interrupted gently. "You never expect the people who mattered most to show up when you're not ready." The words hit him harder than he expected. Across the cafe, Anna ordered her coffee. Her voice was steady. Anyone listening would think she was fine. But inside, she was fighting the urge to leave immediately. She hated how familiar he still felt, how easily old emotions woke up. She told herself she didn't owe him anything. Not a scene. Not an explanation. Not even a conversation. Still, she stayed. Ethan shifted in his chair. "Claire, She raised a hand, stopping him. Her expression was calm, but her eyes were tired. "You thought it was just us," she said. "That's okay. I think part of me wanted to believe that too." He searched her face. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that sometimes," Claire replied, "we sit across from someone, hoping they'll choose us, while their heart is already reacting to someone else." Ethan felt exposed. He hadn't touched Anna, hadn't spoken to her. Yet the truth was clear. Anna turned around, coffee in hand, and walked toward the exit. She didn't look at Ethan this time. Something in him panicked. He stood up so fast his chair scraped the floor. Several people glanced over. He didn't care. Claire watched him stand. She didn't stop him. She already knew what he was going to do. As Anna reached the door, Ethan took a step forward. He didn't call her name yet. The moment stretched, fragile and uncertain, behind him. Claire stayed seated, staring into her cooling coffee, accepting what she had known all along, that this story was bigger than the table. They sat at. Ethan took another step. For the first time that night, he understood the truth. It had never been just us. He couldn't let her leave. Ethan's heart pounded as Anna's figure moved toward the cafe door. The rain had slowed outside, leaving streets that gleamed under the dim streetlights. He knew that if he didn't speak now, if he didn't act, she would walk away. And this time, maybe for good. Every step she took felt like it stretched time. Every heartbeat echoed like a warning that some moments only come once. "Anna," he called out, his voice steady but urgent. She paused, hand on the door handle, but didn't turn around immediately. For a second, he thought she might keep walking. That thought made his chest tighten in a way he hadn't felt in years. She finally turned, and their eyes met. Something unspoken passed between them, a mixture of recognition and longing, memories and what-ifs. No words could describe the weight of years compressed into a single glance. The kind that made the world shrink until only the two of them existed. "Ethan," she said quietly. Her voice was calm, but her eyes betrayed a mix of surprise and something deeper. Maybe caution. "I didn't notice you at first," he admitted, stepping closer. "And I didn't realize how much it mattered until now." Anna didn't move. She held the door, her hand trembling just slightly. She had come expecting to be invisible, to spend her evening with a book and coffee, not to face a man who had left an imprint on her heart years ago. Yet here he was standing before her, and something inside her wanted to lean in to bridge the distance that time had carved. "You always notice too late, don't you?" she whispered, a hint of a smile breaking through. "But better late than never. Maybe." Ethan's throat tightened. The words were simple, but the weight behind them was immense. He wanted to reach out, wanted to touch her hand, but something stopped him. Respect, fear, hesitation, they all mingled in his chest. Years of missed opportunities had taught him caution, yet this moment demanded courage. He took a deep breath, stepping fully into the space between them. "I don't want to let this chance pass," he said. "I don't want to turn away this time." Anna studied him, trying to read if his words carried the honesty she had hoped for. "You say that now," she said softly, "but what about before? You left without explanation. You never saw how much it hurt." He nodded slowly. "I know. I can't change that. I can only try to be here now, and I want to be." His voice dropped slightly, almost a whisper. "I've never stopped thinking about you." The air between them shifted. The cafe's warm glow felt distant, the rain outside like a gentle rhythm urging them to act. Ethan took another step closer, and Anna's grip on the door relaxed, though neither of them crossed the line entirely. Claire had watched from the table. She had sensed this moment coming, had always known that some stories weren't meant to end neatly, that some love had its own timing. She didn't move. She didn't interrupt. Her decision to stay seated was a quiet acknowledgement that this was not her story to intervene in. "I wasn't expecting to see you here," Anna said finally, her voice steady but vulnerable. "I didn't know you'd still." She paused, searching for words. "Still means something." "You do?" Ethan said immediately, the words escaping before he could second guess. "You've always meant something. I didn't understand it until it was almost too late." Anna's eyes softened. For a moment she looked like the girl he remembered, the one who could make him feel at home just by existing. But there was also the woman who had grown stronger, more guarded, more certain of what she wanted. That combination made his heart ache in ways he hadn't expected. "I don't know if I can trust that," she admitted. "You left before. You've said things that didn't last. How do I know this is different?" "I don't expect you to trust me immediately," he said. "I just want the chance to show you, to make you see that I'm here now. Not for a night, not for a moment. I'm here for you." Her gaze softened further, though the hesitation lingered. She had spent years building walls to protect herself, and he had spent years regretting breaking her trust. Now they stood on the edge of that past, uncertain yet drawn to the possibility of something new. Ethan reached out slowly, his hand hovering near hers without touching. It was an offering, a silent question. Anna didn't step back. She let him remain close, testing the boundary, feeling the intensity of a connection that had never really faded. "You don't have to say yes," he said. "You don't have to do anything. I needed you to know. I can't keep pretending I don't care." Anna swallowed, feeling a flutter in her chest that had been dormant for years. She remembered the quiet nights, the conversations that went deep without a word of pressure. The way he made her feel seen when no one else did. That memory alone was enough to weaken her resolve. I don't know what to say," she admitted, finally. Her voice was soft, uncertain, honest. "I've waited for so long to hear you say things like that. But words aren't enough, Ethan." "I know," he said, stepping slightly closer. "I don't expect them to be, but I can show you. I want to show you, if you'll let me." The rain outside had slowed to a drizzle, the night carrying a quiet magic that seemed to hold the city still. Ethan and Anna remained there, inches apart, the weight of their past and the hope of their future pressing between them. Neither moved away, neither broke the tension. They simply breathed together, letting the moment speak louder than any words could. Finally, Anna set her hand down gently on the doorframe, turning fully to face him. "You're serious?" she asked. "Completely," he said. "I've never been more certain of anything in my life." Her eyes searched his for a long moment, looking for the truth, the sincerity, the absence of old mistakes. Then, slowly, she stepped a little closer, just enough that the space between them shrank. The world around them faded, the chatter of the cafe, the rain hitting the windows, the glow of streetlights outside, all became background to the weight of this connection. For a moment, nothing existed but them, the unspoken apologies, the missed chances, and the possibility of something new. "I want to believe you," she whispered, and for the first time in years, she let herself hope. Ethan reached out, this time brushing a hand gently across hers. No rush, no force, just a simple gesture that carried all the meaning he couldn't put into words. She didn't pull away. She let him hold that space, and in doing so, she gave him the chance to prove everything he had said. Claire watched from her seat, sipping her coffee quietly. She felt a familiar pang of letting go, knowing that love sometimes wasn't about holding on, but about allowing people to find the path they were meant to take. She smiled faintly, a mix of sadness and relief. Her role had ended, but theirs had just begun. The rain outside slowed to a soft mist, painting the streets with reflections of light and possibility. Ethan and Anna stepped outside together, their movements tentative but deliberate. Neither spoke at first. They walked side by side under the umbrella, sharing space, sharing presence, letting the quiet fill the gaps that words couldn't. "Do you remember the park by Maple Street?" Ethan asked finally, breaking the silence. Anna nodded, a faint smile curving her lips. "How could I forget?" "Let's go there tomorrow," he said, hope in his voice. "Just to talk. Just to see if we can start over without all the pressure, without anything else." She looked at him, searching for hidden meanings, for the usual hesitation, but all she saw was sincerity. For the first time in a long time, she felt a cautious optimism. "Okay," she said softly. "We can try." They walked on, side by side, the night wrapping around them like a gentle promise. No dramatic confessions, no sudden decisions, just to people who had once lost their way, now finding the courage to see each other clearly. The city lights reflected off the wet streets, casting long shadows behind them, but neither noticed. They only noticed the steps they were taking together, small but significant, towards something neither could fully define yet, but both felt deeply. And for the first time that evening, Ethan smiled without hesitation. He didn't know exactly what would happen next. He didn't know if this second chance would last forever. But he knew he was exactly where he needed to be, right beside the woman who had never really left his heart. Anna walked a little closer to him, letting him match his pace to hers. There was no rush. There was no expectation. Just a shared rhythm, a quiet understanding that some stories weren't about the ending, but about showing up when it finally mattered. The night held them in its gentle embrace, and for the first time both of them realized that sometimes love doesn't vanish. It waits, patient, persistent, and ready to return when people are finally ready to notice. And in that silence, with the city sleeping around them, they finally allowed themselves to be seen. The rain had stopped completely now, leaving the streets shiny and new, like a blank page ready to be written. They walked on together, not rushing, not looking back, just forward step by step, toward the unknown, but together.